In what incredible way did one person's relentless faith alter the course of many lives? Abraham's response to the call of the supernatural launched an incredible journey that transformed him from a poor shepherd into the revered father of three different faiths. Many of his descendants now still have faith in him because of his great dedication, which displayed in giving up all, including his beloved son. Abraham's path from Ur to Canaan ingrained a lifetime of unflinching faith that carried across the years despite many obstacles. His narrative reveals the essence of faith, the need of obedience, and the tremendous force of one person's belief spanning millennia. From Abraham's great faith, what lessons may we pick up? Raised in the heart of Mesopotamia, sheltered in the ancient city of Ur, among the melodious clinks and clatters of craftsmen sculpting metal and clay into exquisite idols, young man Abraham was maturing. Widely known as the main idol maker in ancient times, Terah expertly created sacred objects to decorate temples and homes, so honoring and dedicating the people of the area to their hearts. Often thinking about the basic ideas guiding his civilization, Abraham was an extremely clever young man with a ravenous thirst for knowledge. Abraham was considering the essence of existence in the quiet of evening at his father's workshop, his eyes drifting over the silent sculptures all about him. He started to notice striking differences in highly regarded works created by human artists. As Abraham gazed at its wonders, he was surprised at the exact dance of the stars, the complicated existence of creatures great and little, and the exquisite patterns spun throughout the natural universe. Deep down, he realized that one supreme intelligence, the master designer of the universe, was behind all of this. Abraham found his first heavenly calling one evening of great importance as he stared up at the vastness covered with many stars. His feelings echoed with a powerful voice, guiding him to say goodbye to all that was known, his own nation, his father's prosperous company, and the close customs of his people. He was assigned a holy order to travel to a nation still to be disclosed, one that would finally open out before him. The call tested Abraham's most fundamental sense of security and cultural inheritance. Abraham felt driven to tell everyone around him his new insight, not to withdraw in quiet. Through careful conversations with the bright men of the society and the committed priests, he developed strong arguments against idol worship. These arguments sometimes stirred off rage, since Abraham's theories challenged Ur's long-standing religious and socio-economic foundation. He broke the idols in his father's shop with great bravery, sparing only the most beautiful of them all, which he covered with a tool in hand. When asked about the devastation, Abraham sensibly pointed out that the mightiest idol had defeated the others, therefore underlining the stupidity of resting too much on dead figures. The leaders reacted to this sacrilegious action with great harshness. Abraham was persecuted and imprisoned, but his faith was unshakable, proof of his great values. Alone in his imprisonment, he grabbed the opportunity to grow, to know the divine, and strengthen his philosophical foundation for his belief in one God. Many viewers were captivated by his relentless faith in the face of adversity, which made some of them secretly reflect on their own convictions. Once released, Abraham lived in Haran with his beloved wife Sarah and answered a second divine call. His nephew Lot was with him. This holy statement promised enormous promise. The Almighty would name him the father of a large nation, therefore blessing every family on earth. Abraham's faith had developed, enabling him to hang on to this obviously impossible future, even though his age and lack of children meant the promise seemed beyond reach. Obstacles scattered Abraham's path to Canaan, tried his will in many different ways. His caravan crossed difficult desert terrain, suffered through severe food shortages, and came into hostile tribes on unrelenting raids in the middle of hunger. Every difficulty shaped Abraham's character and strengthened his faith toward the Almighty. He built altars at numerous spots on his road that functioned as places of worship and learning, so progressively building a community of believers that accepted his conception of one real God. Abraham developed a reputation that exceeded his own riches as he landed in Canaan. Local elites gathered around him, eager for his insights to mend their conflicts, and his house became into a revered wisdom and divine direction refuge. He acquired a great awareness that clarifies the essence of the divine, the aim of mankind, and the criteria of moral behavior. Attracting searchers from all around, his outstanding teachings drew many of them back to share the information they had discovered. With time, Abraham's friendship with the Almighty strengthened and was interspersed with frequent correspondence and amazing meetings. Every conference, his calling as a communicator blossomed, and his insight grew. He became a great spiritual leader, from a student of knowledge, since he built a close contact with the Creator and heard the quiet whispers of divine direction, therefore changing himself from a seeker of wisdom. In Abraham's neighborhood, the pleasant welcome took front stage. Opening on all four sides, his tent invited guests from all walks of life to participate in his friendliness. They found they were not only fed in terms of nutrition for their bodies, but also in spirit, as they had real talks with Abraham and received his lessons. Many who arrived seeking a brief refuge left as devoted adherents of the one true faith, spreading Abraham's teachings over great distances. Over the various years, Abraham waited for the promise of an heir to materialize in the evolving narrative of him. One of the most difficult difficulties of his faith emerged. Seeing the families blossoming all around them, he and Sarah felt solace in the thought of a bigger plan growing in its own time. Abraham accepted this period to strengthen his teachings and raise his impact instead of succumbing to despair. He created tools to emphasize difficult spiritual ideas for individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds, so allowing the broad acceptance of one single heavenly message. Long after Abraham's physical years were finished, his spiritual road had a broad influence. Originally the son of an idol maker, he began an amazing journey that led to his fathering a single faith from little beginnings. His great insights laid the groundwork for philosophical and religious concepts that would be relevant across time, hence forming the ideals of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Along with his constant loyalty to divine direction, his tireless commitment to truth, even in the face of personal sacrifice, created a legacy that impacts the spiritual pathways of countless people all around the world. Abraham's journey teaches us that true faith is about believing in our hearts and heads as much as about living it out in our daily life. Still resonant in this ageless message are our spiritual conversations. On a critical day, among the immense, starry expanse of the desert night, Abraham received a holy assurance of the promise made between the Almighty and his lineage. The Almighty revealed his everlasting covenant in a sacred ceremony, separating animals and pushing a smoldering firepot between them. Abraham's offspring would number as many stars in the night sky, promised to inherit the ground from the river of Egypt to the great Euphrates. Abraham and Sarah were given incredible news outside of nature following many long years of trust and patience. In their latter years, the Almighty said Abraham would reach the venerable age of 100, and Sarah, at 90, would have a child. Sarah first laughed in a state of skepticism, but when she found she was with child and presented their expected son, a name that captures the joy of their great gift, that laughing blossomed into great ecstasy. Living the hopes and supernatural promises of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac grew into a young man, and the Almighty handed Abraham a test of faith, unparalleled in degree. Abraham answered the summons in a flash of tremendous insight, pushing him to carry his beloved son Isaac to the hallowed heights of Mount Moriah and beyond the very edges of his faith and knowledge. This demand looked to be somewhat different from the great love a father has for his child and the divine assurances on Isaac's vital part in the continuation of Abraham's line. For the father and his darling child, the 3-day excursion to Moriah turned into a serious spiritual pilgrimage. Abraham carried considerable weight from his great knowledge, but he was convinced the Almighty would guard his loving son as well as the holy promises he had received. Sensing the weight of the occasion, Isaac, bearing the wood for what might be his own contribution, showed great faith in his father's divine wisdom. When Abraham got to the appointed site, he softly began to build the altar. His hands trembled as he arranged the wood to reveal the great inner struggle. Deeply curious, Isaac inquired about the missing sacrificial lamb. With uncompromising trust, Abraham's reply, "God herself will provide the lamb," had a deeper significance, since it reflected a full reliance on the divine purpose that transcended their present situation. Abraham got ready to bound Isaac at that turning point, raising the sacrificial knife high above to produce a suspenseful and divine intended scene. Abraham shone his, ready to give up all, including the child of promise. In this great moment of trust, believing that God might bring his covenant to pass even through the difficulties of death and the prospect of resurrection. Abraham's hand was held by a supernatural presence at that turning point, exposing a ram buried in the thicket, ready to be his son's sacrifice. This incredible journey produced a transformation that improved the spiritual awareness and faith in divine direction for both father and son. Beyond human knowledge and earthly bonds, the test exposed Abraham's whole loyalty to the divine plan. God verified and expanded the holy promises of the covenant in a flash of divine assurance, so declaring that Abraham's descendants would bring blessings to all people of the earth. Following this momentous event, divine providence set Mount Moriah as the site of Solomon's temple in the next days. Abraham's eagerness to present Isaac is a potent narrative of faith and obedience that emphasizes the truth that the road to embracing God's promises often demands for the renouncement of those promises in a confident attitude. Abraham's life had a turning moment whereby his developing faith developed from simple intellectual compliance to a strong and unwavering faith in the divine character and promises. Isaac's faith was molded by the road, which equipped him to keep the holy pledges for next generations. Their road unfolded on the holy heights of Mount Moriah as a dramatic narrative of unyielding faith and unrelenting obedience, even in the face of celestial demands that appeared insurmountable. The solution to this huge challenge defined Abraham's climb as the finest model of unwavering faith for the coming generations. His eagerness to present Isaac, while yet anchored to the certainty in God's promises, is a model of unwavering faith that resonates to people from all backgrounds. It shows how often true faith asks for us to welcome the greater divine design and transcend our limited knowledge. Following Abraham's remarkable acts of faith, his descendants began to construct a beautiful tapestry of legacy, that unfurled in a sophisticated and vast scale. The echoes of his deeds throughout millennia altered human destiny and laid the foundation for immortal spiritual practices, today directing the life of countless people. From Abraham's beloved son Isaac, the line descended into the 12 tribes of Israel, a great road of faith and promise. Emerging as the father of a great people destined to preserve and share the monotheistic faith established by Abraham, Isaac's son Jacob, later known as Israel. Would later on, the Israelites kept the Holy Covenant pledges and embraced unique religious and cultural customs, setting them apart from their neighbors. From the bonds of family to the vastness of a nation, they witnessed God's promise fulfilled, that Abraham's descendants would be as many as the stars in the nighttime sky. In the emerging narrative, Abraham's firstborn son, Ishmael, produced a great legacy of his own. He had the honor of fathering 12 princes, in line with the divine promise, therefore building the basis of a great nation. From his heritage sprang numerous Arab tribes, scattered over the Arabian Peninsula. These people held true to the rich tapestry of their Abrahamic legacy, even as they spun their own particular cultural and spiritual traditions into the fabric of their lives. As the years went by, the relationship between the descendants of Isaac and Ishmael grew ever more complicated, weaving a tapestry of legacies and tales impacting their destinies. Although their ancestry was the same, their roots were diverse and produced different nations with their own identities, and sometimes conflict among them. And thus it was that their common ancestry, beginning with Abraham, created the conditions for deep conversations and a greater knowledge of their intertwined spiritual beginning. The complicated dance of geopolitical and spiritual interactions all throughout the Middle East is still shaped by this dynamic link. The death of Sarah marked a significant turning point in Abraham's life. Significantly, he established the first official claim to Canaan by purchasing the Machpelah cave to be a tomb site, set aside as a hallowed site for all those who would follow. This ground embraced the resting places of the revered ancestors. For those on a road of faith, it is a wonderful spot that represents the near connection between Abraham's family line and the nation they were promised. Abraham's life had an impact considerably beyond his own residence. His relentless moral fortitude and dedication to compliance acted as a lighthouse, helping ethical monotheism to flourish. His hardships and achievements have weaved themselves into the very fabric of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Each tradition commemorates his memory and celebrates him as a lighthouse of faith, guiding their beliefs from their varied points of view. Abraham's offspring offered their spiritual teachings in line with his method of sharing knowledge via compassion and communication. Now defining their rich tradition of open communication, probing questions, and critical investigation of belief as a trademark are the Abrahamic faiths. His search for spiritual truth, that which combined reason with revelation, led to the creation of theological methods still guiding religious education today. Abraham's life's great events, especially the poignant occurrence involving Isaac's bound onto Mount Moriah, help to explain Jerusalem's revered place in the holy narrative. This specific site evolved over time to become the sacred ground for the Jewish temple, its importance flowering to include a tapestry of various religious traditions, a tapestry of religious history where the threads of many Abrahamic faiths entwine, and each one follows their ancestors to a common patriarch, sits right within the core of the city. Abraham's relentless dedication to justice and compassion acted as a lighthouse guiding the ethical and legal systems his offspring would inherit. His honest appeal for Sodom shows his readiness to protect the just, so he offers a great paradigm of moral bravery against those in power. This rich tradition was essential in developing moral principles, stressing the dignity of every individual and the justice of divine judgment. Abraham's family has fabricated tales of his journeys over the years, altering and fitting them for each time. One amazing example of spiritual growth is his path from the worship of many gods to the conviction in one actual God. His determination to leave his country and loved ones started off various courses, even while his belief in divine promises kept hope during national crises and times of exile. Abraham's trip shows the great ways in which one person's relentless faith could shape the course of human history across millennia. His story threads across time as fresh souls contact with him, seeking direction and inspiration for their own paths of religion. The complex tapestry spun by the different traditions that follow, Abraham invites us into a place of communication and shared ideas, even while honoring the distinctive ways each tradition views the legacy of their beloved patriarch. Abraham's incredible journey is a powerful narrative that emphasizes the great impact of religion that penetrates various religious traditions and spans cultural borders in our present era. His amazing journey from the several views of ancient Ur to his great responsibility as the father of a single faith acts as a lighthouse for spiritual development and harmony among diverse ideas in our always linked world. Abraham's boldness in challenging the norms and following a deep spiritual insight appeals to the searchers of today who negotiate the challenging terrain of various religions and ideologies. His courage to question the traditional rituals of religion of his age, despite tremendous personal sacrifices, is a wonderful source of encouragement for anyone battling their beliefs in a time of fast social change and intensive intellectual inquiry. The young people relate to this part of his life since they yearn for actual spiritual experiences and give great thought to established religious beliefs and practices supporting them. The rich history of greeting the stranger, as revealed in the stories of old, offers a strong paradigm for promoting actual interactions amongst various religions on our world. His practice of having a tent open on all sides and allowing visitors from every direction reveals how actual human connection and shared experiences may cut across religious and cultural barriers. Modern interfaith projects all rely on this concept to provide welcoming environments where people from all backgrounds may participate in meaningful discourse while honoring their own religious identities and valued practices. The narrative of Abraham's holy summons and his road to new nations is very important in our day of massive worldwide migration and turmoil. From Ur to Canaan, his road reflects the eternal tale of countless humans searching for new starts and unlimited possibilities from known shores. His narrative provides hope and guidance for those who find themselves in unfamiliar land, demonstrating that even while the road of displacement may be paved with difficulties, it may also open the path for great spiritual development and the blossoming of dynamic new communities of belief. The challenges he encountered on this crucial route equip information useful for the modern displaced population. Through both Isaac and Ishmael, the complicated links forged among the descendants of Abraham offer valuable lessons that can enable us navigate today's religious problems and promote harmony among numerous faiths. Understanding the different readings and customs that have developed over time, the rich legacy that links Muslims, Christians, and Jews together via the figure of Abraham provides a strong foundation for meaningful conversation. Inspired by his legacy, many religious organizations honor their own religious traditions and unique historical roots, realizing their shared spiritual inheritance. Abraham's amazing journey of combining faith with thorough research is a lighthouse in the continuous debates on how religious belief fits modern scientific findings. His painstaking study of the natural world leads him toward a conviction in one God and shows how one could hunt spiritual truth by rational inquiry and divine insight. This collection of thoughts allows us to view present debates on how to strike a balance between faith and scientific investigation from a different angle. It helps us to enjoy the wonders of science while yet maintaining our spiritual beliefs. The arguments of today on the essence of religious obligation and the intricacy of moral philosophy mirror greatly the great difficulty Abraham's faith faced as he met the heavenly demand to turn over his beloved Isaac. This compelling narrative challenges us to examine the intricate link between divine directions and human knowledge, so improving the debate on spiritual leadership, personal conviction, and moral judgment in front of the complexity of life. Driven by a greater power, the trial shows itself as a sophisticated dance between the weight of ethical obligation and unflinching belief. Abraham is a guiding person who symbolizes the essence of education and nurturing communities and offers remarkable examples of religious leadership appropriate for many diverse nations. His ability to provide people from diverse cultural backgrounds with deep spiritual insights shows how holy truths could be shared in a way fit for their basic nature. Modern religious leaders saw his life as a lighthouse, developing strategies to raise the soul in different societies and seeing the importance of harmonizing old customs with the urgent demands of today. Abraham's holy covenant resides with us and directs our perspective of the vitally important bond between the divine and humanity throughout various religions. The focus on the call of the divine and human reaction provides insightful concepts on how religious communities should keep their unique identities while favorably interacting with the outer world. Today's conversations on our responsibilities to one another, the search for justice in our local communities, and how religious groups could rise to meet the needs of our time, thread the holy promise through. Abraham's legacy shines beautifully in these times of great challenges and hardships, as the globe works on problems requiring unity and collaboration. His wisdom and guidance will enable us to establish links among the different threads of religion and culture. Based on his narrative, even if it is quite personal, authentic belief always encourages connection with others and a real commitment to the good of all. This insight guides modern perspectives on our obligations in faith as we handle common human issues, including environmental preservation, guarantees of economic justice, and advancement of peace in times of war. People outside of conventional Christianity will particularly relate to Abraham's spiritual journey. It starts conversations about the essence of human objectives, the nature of moral action, and the road of moral evolution. His great moral fearlessness and relentless dedication to truth actually resonate to our shared human yearnings for direction and actual reality. Even in our modern culture, when faith may seem less significant, his narrative nonetheless provides strong imagery and lessons stressing the road of human potential, ethical development, and the search for a greater meaning. Many religious traditions encourage active conversation, inspired by Abraham's road of discovery. His near meetings with the divine spark inspire deep questions about the nature of revelation, the possibility of a personal relationship with the Almighty, and the need of human participation in the road of spiritual development. These profound introspection help to improve the dialogue on spiritual experiences, the channels of divine communication to us, and the intricate relationship between belief and behavior. Having great significance and rising weight, Abraham's legacy shines brilliantly in our day of fast change and many ideas. Respecting its fundamental truths and core values, his path reveals the transformative power of faith, how it may develop and expand by interactions with many civilizations and circumstances. Abraham's narrative shines brilliantly in the middle of today's complicated fabric of religious identity and the quest of interfaith understanding, therefore offering timeless wisdom and inspiration for creating religious communities that uplifts mankind and advances peace among all people. Abraham's legacy offers great insight on the journey of faith and spiritual development of today. Rich in personal stories, engaging conversations, and real-life events, his approach of teaching provides a road for modern religious education that transcends basic belief sharing and promotes actual spiritual development and more understanding. His approach of guiding following generations and inspiring them to develop personally in their contact with the divine offers insight to the religious leaders and educators of today. All play a part in Abraham's ageless search for truth, the shadows of doubt he meets, the obstacles that strain his spirit, and the exquisite vindication that follows. This narrative resonates worldwide and across the years beyond racial and religious divisions. These elements capture the core of human experience and ambitions, thereby transforming his narrative into a potent tool for fostering interfaith dialogue and healing of cultural conflicts on our always linked planet. Abraham's narrative offers a comprehensive study of faith, obedience, and the arduous challenges of the human experience, going beyond basic history. Looking through the holy traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Abraham's legacy knows no boundaries and impacts hearts and brains across many faiths as we travel over the convoluted tapestry of his life. His unwavering allegiance to the Almighty, even in the face of hardship, invites us to reflect on our own road forward and the principles most dear to us. Abraham's path shows our readiness to give up something we cherish most, as well as physical, emotional, and spiritual sacrifice. Even in the heart of the harshest difficulties, his eagerness to respond, the divine summons, speaks to core themes of trust, faith, and the conviction that a larger good always unfolds outside of our own lives. In the narrative of Abraham, we see that our own destinies and the pathways of those who follow us can be shaped by the decisions we make, the religion we support, and the values we treasure. It reveals to us the great relevance of the choices we embrace in the middle of uncertainty and challenges, generally with ramifications considerably beyond our own knowledge. Consider the life of Abraham and how your own road of faith shapes the decisions you now have to make. How do you pass over uncertain or difficult periods? Which principles help you to approach decisions? Come, let us get together and have meaningful discussions about these crucial concepts with each other. Sort your concepts, examine these topics more closely, and ask questions. Let us move ahead, learning from the tales of those who walked this road before us, as we pursue serious study, reflection, and collective development.